One of the most enjoyable aspects in the world of wristwatches is that you can discover something every day. I'm sure that I've never mentioned the Swiss manufacturer Rado, which is quite a shame because they offer an entire lineup of very interesting watches. The latest announcement is the Radio Captain Cook Overpole, the reissue of a world timer produced first in 1962. Let's go over the specifications. We have a hand-wound watch with a bezel diameter, yes, let's be precise, of 37 mm. The case is a smidgen smaller than that. Length overall is 43 mm, height is 10, a lug width 18 mm. We have a ceramic bezel, a sapphire crystal and the caliber 862, which is basically the ETA 2804 with a power reserve of 80 hours. The watch comes with a beads of rice bracelet and a leather strap, and the price is 2,250 euros or 2,400 US dollars. Before we speak about capitals and time zones, one word about Rado. The company was founded 1917 in Switzerland, first only for the production of movements. In 1937 they started to produce their own watches, and in the 60s with a clear focus on robustness. Today Rado is part of the Swatch Group but managed to maintain a very clear profile. So, back to our Captain Cook. At first glance we can tell very 60s, with an enormous amount of attention to detail. We have block indices with an advanced top shape, a lot of angles here. Then we have a sunburst gradient dial. Note the classy vintage fonts for the overpole and the time zones on the bezel. I love how nicely the letter goes with the charcoal ceramic. Date window and hands are pretty standard for this genre and style. You could find them on anything between Tissot and Longines, but I think for a reason, it works. Note that the case is indeed a smidgen smaller than the bezel, and its form is simple, also the finish, but it works too. And I can imagine that this is hard to achieve, to find something that goes well with such a dominant bezel. Wonderful. The dial color I found odd first, a color the guys at DC Comics use as a skin tone for characters that live under a tombstone, but now it's growing on me, gives depth to the watch. And yes, the anchor on the dial rotates. And now let's speak briefly about time zones. A world timer is one of my favorite complications, because it reminds you in a fascinating way that you really are on a globe and that you are not unique. You see the sun, but you are aware that other people right now are staring in the night. Gives the feeling of something really big. But people of course ask now, why should I know the time in Mauritius? Where's instead Singapore? The reason for this rather quirky selection of places is that they stand not for themselves only, but for a certain time zone. The entire history and development of time zones is too complicated for a 4-minute video. But here you see the most important aspect. A time zone is a vast area on the map with a lot of cities in it, so the indication Mauritius doesn't stand only for the island. Back to our watch and now to the movement. Here you see the reason why the watch is so slender. Hand-wound movement based on an ETA modernized, which you can tell from the staggering 80 hours power reserve. Here the exhibition Caseback really makes some sense, because you don't see this movement every day. High quality and with an own aesthetic, which I personally love. I love the overall measurements of the watch. People will find it small, but let's be happy about that. Let's be happy that nowadays there's something for everybody in every size, in every genre, in every price region. And that's our last keyword here, price and availability. The price tag tells us that we're on one level with Longines, a company with a bigger brand value. But quality-wise, the ingredients here are on one level with the other mid-tier brands of the Swatch Group. So I find this price rather normal. I would personally expect that you can purchase it in a few months with a discount, but not right now. Right now the watch is not yet available, but this may change in a couple of weeks. And that said, let me close this episode. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for your attention and see you next Monday to Watch of the Week.